Welcome to another episode of The Modern Moron, a sort of multi-episode portion on spin doctors, analysts, pundits, talking heads, and conspiracy theorists. How they're different and how they're basically the same, only some wear fancy suits and have hair and makeup and have a cable news show, while others are conspiracy theorists that get banned from social media, from the idiot Alex Jones all the way to the conspiracy theorist-in-chief on Pennsylvania Avenue. He's run his first campaign on conspiracies, and he's running his re-election on it. And let's agree, just for this moronic program, that some conspiracies are true. Most are probably not, but there's a whole spectrum of conspiracies that have partial truths to them. And those truths are used to build the narrative that the snake oil salesmen and women want you to believe. Some are really, really good salespeople, like the folks on CNN and Fox, and some are not so good or even downright terrible. And deciding which salesperson you want to believe is as subjective as deciding which comedian is funny or which artist is worthy of the highest praise. For example, is it irony that some of Jackson Pollock's most famous paintings are also used to refer to cases of diarrhea? Something to ponder, or not. In the previous episode, we talked about Alex Jones, who's made his living on conspiracy theories and who is a community college dropout. We talk about Rush Limbaugh, another college dropout after 2 semesters from Missouri State, directly from his Wikipedia page. Take that for what it's worth. According to his mother, he flunked everything. He just didn't seem interested in anything except radio. His biographer, he has a biographer, Zev Chafets, probably pronounced that wrong. He believes that a large part of Limbaugh's life has been dedicated to gaining his father's respect and approval. Does that remind you of anyone?
I brought back the old light bulb.
Sean Hannity gets mentioned at one point. He's a political commentator on Fox News and has attended New York University, UC Santa Barbara, and Adelphi University, but did not graduate. Darn it! We are getting so much closer to a conservative pundit that does have a college degree. Oh, there are plenty out there, I assure you. For some moronic reason, I sent the senator part of my opening for this episode, and in it, I included a list of people who have pretty large platforms to spout their opinions. I guess the question is, when do opinions and the people selling them turn into something more? Apparently, the senator thinks I'm being a bit harsh. Let's find out as we drop in on a conversation between 2 morons. Did you look at my notes?
Yeah, dude, that's...
What?
It's...
What?
It's kind of, I'm not gonna say weird, but man, that's kind of deep.
What I wrote?
Yeah.
That'll end up being the intro to the episode.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
What's so crazy about it? What did you find?
It's not crazy. I guess reading it and then hearing it are 2 different things.
I said we're going to start talking about conspiracy theorists, right?
Yeah.
And how they're just one step further from the pundits. Well, my first thing I said was that everything has to be entertainment now. We got to be entertained 24/7, and there better be a joke every 15 seconds, or whatever, or some boobs every 15 seconds, or some shocking piece of information every 15 seconds.
Yeah,
or I'm going to flip the channel. I'm going to change to something else.
And it's got to be drama. It's got to be a train wreck for me.
Yeah. Yes. And so taking it one step further from the pundits, all the CNN analysts and all the Fox News idiots and all of them, taking it one step further, now you've got these conspiracy theorists. And it's all this bad behavior, like the reality TV shows. All this bad behavior keeps getting clicks. It's clickbait. Have you heard of this guy, Alex Jones?
Yeah, I saw you list.
He's kind of the poster child for conspiracy theories right now. He's in Texas. He's like 45 years old. And the latest thing he said, he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast, which is like...
Before you go on, can I ask you, is he the same guy who the Sandy Hook killing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that was a hoax. He said, what are some other things he said? I have it.
I mean, that's all I need to know about that guy. If he thinks that the killing of over 24 children, right? It was 20 something.
He had to backtrack on that. And it also got him kicked off of YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yeah, that's all I need to know about that guy, because old people and kids, right? I mean, they got to be protected.
Animals, right? Okay,
I
this real quick. This is from an article from Forbes.com, which is conservative. Jones's well-documented greatest hits of conspiracy theories include claims that the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing was the work of the government, 9/11 was orchestrated by the George W. Bush administration, and the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre was a hoax. So
Jeez.
he got kicked off for all of these. Well, he's just doing it to get attention, like Howard Stern got attention in the 80s, like fucking Rush Limbaugh does still.
Yeah.
So this guy got kicked off. The latest thing he did was that he said he would commit cannibalism. He said, I will eat you. I will not let my daughters go hungry during this pandemic, and I will eat you. I will kill you, and I will eat you to survive. That's what I have to do. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, jeez.
Then he had to go back and backtrack and say, oh, I was being sarcastic. Sound familiar? Can you think of anybody else that said something that said, oh, I was being sarcastic? Our president.
Yeah.
So this guy's an idiot, but he's still got these followers. And this article goes on to say, which I'll put in the description from Forbes, at a time when the interdependence of our citizens is more necessary than ever to combat an invisible threat that doesn't respect borders and boundaries, turning neighbor against neighbor is not only the wrong message, it's an exceptionally dangerous one as well. While Alex Jones might not have access to the social media amplifiers he once had, his platform remains, and his words are just as dangerous. And although Jones's free speech should, by necessity, be constitutionally protected, his dangerous message of distrust and division need to be combated with even louder appeals for solidarity and common sense. And the take on that is we should combat it by ignoring it. Unfortunately, there are bigger idiots that listen to this guy for something beyond entertainment. He's a crazy guy. He says something like that. He shouldn't be taken seriously, but people do.
I guess the big question is, where does free speech come in and where does it end? He's crazy, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
He says things for reaction. He has no substance whatsoever, period. I mean, and people who would believe any of that, maybe not a sliver of truth, I think, personally, in any of it. But where do you say he can't? I guess you could cut him off of YouTube. I guess you could cut him off your...
Well, YouTube, all those platforms are privately held companies.
Right. But I mean, if he wants to stand on a soapbox in the middle of the town square and spout out all of his theories and things, I personally think you got to do it. I mean, you don't have to listen. You just walk away. Right.
In a perfect capitalistic society, he would spout off, we would walk away, and he would have to shut up because it wouldn't get any fire.
That's it. I mean, that's how you cure that problem, is you don't listen. You just don't give him the attention.
But he's getting enough attention that people listen to this guy. He's been on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan, this show is like a very, very, very poor man's Joe Rogan experience, in that Rogan doesn't claim to be a know-it-all about anything other than MMA and stand-up comedy. He's a goof. He admits he's a goof. I don't know anything, is what he would say.
Yeah.
And his take is the same as mine on this idiot, is that he's a jerk. So laugh at him, call him crazy, laugh at it and move on. But there are people that don't. There are people that like it. They're like, yeah, let's let's raise the torches and storm the castle again. It's something every week.
Yeah. I still think the more you ignore those types of people, they're going to fade away. And how does he get traction anyway, old man? How does how does that even start? How does he even get traction?
From doing it for 20 years, for one thing. Maybe we'll have that kind of following in 20 years.
Well, first of all, on your commentary, those aren't all conservative. Like Chris Matthews is not a conservative.
Oh, he's not? He's just a jerk?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a jerk.
I'm glad I didn't put all the list I gave you of.
You got Michael Moore. You got Michael Moore.
I think he's just too much. It's like, just go get on a treadmill and think of a documentary that's not about politics.
I love what you said about Rachel.
Rachel Maddow. I'm glad you brought that up. I tried to listen to her this morning. Could last about 2 minutes.
I have listened to her.
And does she drive you crazy?
Yeah, but as you know, I try to suck up both sides, right? And but she drives me crazy. Just like Sean Hannity drives me crazy. I'm not a big fan.
They all try to be so dramatic. The 1.5 million cases of coronavirus in the U.S. is by far the most in the world, the largest outbreak on Earth. Oh, really? What are the outbreaks, Rachel, on Saturn? Huh? There's zero. So is Saturn doing a better job, Rachel? The largest outbreak on Earth. So she says there's a 1.5 million cases, and that's accurate. But what's inaccurate is she says the number 2, 3, and 4 cases are between 250 and 300,000 only. Well, guess what, Rachel? We're a big goddamn country. Real big, right? So I think maybe a more accurate statistic would be to look at how many deaths per 100,000 people might be a more accurate way to measure how we're handling it here.
Can I take that one step further? Because the whole world, that's all they're focused on, or the whole country, right? Every time you turn on the news, I mean, the whole first hour when I listen to NPR, the first 45 minutes is all about COVID-19, aka Chinese flu. So I don't know if there's any leg to this, but I don't know if hospitals, I don't know if medical, I don't know if I'm just talking out of my butthole.
Probably.
If you tag the death as a COVID-19 on the death certificate, there's a monetary value to that.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that
just say, they died of the flu. Oh, no, the flu's bad. Sorry. They died of whatever, right? I don't know.
Heart failure.
Something related to COVID-19, so they get a little bit more money. So are the numbers that skewed? Are they that skewed?
Are they skewed up? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah.
There's reasons to skew up and there's reasons to skew down, right?
Yeah, but are those numbers accurate? Are they accurate based on how the government is paying hospitals and the medical field for these deaths? I mean, they get money.
I would say it goes back to what you originally asked me when this came up. Are they telling us everything? Do we know everything that's out there? And the answer is absolutely not. Right. Because you know what it comes down to? It comes down to money, greed, and power. And I get more money if it's one thing if I'm a doctor and I took a Hippocratic oath. It's another thing if I'm a hospital administrator and I get more money if it's quote unquote COVID related.
Excellent.
Just like the insurance mechanism. Oh, it's insurance? Oh, well, we're going to jack the price up because your air quotes insurance is going to cover it. And then John Doe comes in through the doors who doesn't have insurance is like, I can't afford that. Well, we'll bring it down a little bit.
I love that. That's perfect what you said, because the administrators are the ones making the call.
Yeah.
Right? It's really not.
Everything's a for-profit. Even a nonprofit is trying to turn a profit.
Yeah. That's
so,
a great point.
So here's a statistic from BBC.com. I don't know where they got their data, and I can find that out. And I trust this. So it said coronavirus in detail. You can do it by country, you can do it by deaths, or you can do it by death rate, which is deaths per 100,000 people. The most deaths per 100,000 people occur in the country of San Marino. That's number one, 121.4 people per 100,000, followed by Belgium, Andorra, Spain, Italy, and the UK. Spain, Italy, and the UK are over 50 people per 100,000, followed by France. On down until you get Ireland is 32 per 100,000. The United States is 27 per 100,000. So while Rachel Maddow can scream out from underneath her crew cut that the United States has more COVID cases in the world than anyone on this planet, they don't have the most deaths per 100,000 people. And also, that would be like saying, what do we take just the country? So are we going to say, well, New York has by far the most cases, right? How many cases are in Wyoming?
Right.
Not many. Oh, well, I guess Wyoming knows how to treat COVID better than New York. That's ridiculous, and we all know that. We don't even have to ask why. It doesn't need to be analyzed by special analysts and pundits. We know that fucking Wyoming's got millions of acres of fucking land, and New York is crammed full of people. It's like common sense. Quit trying to bullshit us.
And it's also the hub of, world travelers going through airports.
Yes, it's a port.
I mean, from all over the world, people come in to New York City. They go to JFK. They go into LaGuardia. Come on. I mean, I love Wyoming, but
I want to go to. I love
not too
Wyoming.
many people flying into Jackson
Laramie. I want to go to Laramie, Wyoming.
Laramie.
Yeah, or Cheyenne. Woo! Wyoming.
I love it. You could run into your buddy from Halliburton. Doesn't he live in Wyoming?
I thought he lived in Texas. No, that's right. You're right.
Oh.
Who? Cheney, Dick Cheney?
Yeah, you go see him over there in Jackson Hole.
I got your Jackson Hole. I got Cheney's hole.
You got a big
guy he went hunting with got a number of holes. Bada boom. So now I've been bagging on Trump. I bagged on Rachel Maddow. She's on the left, right? I could bag on Pelosi.
Don't mess with
she
me.
called Donald Trump morbidly obese.
Yeah, I caught wind of that just on Twitter. That's all I saw.
If you didn't hear what she said, this is what she said.
He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved by the scientists, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
Actually, at the end of it, if you notice, she said, morbidly obese is what they call it or what they say. And then she followed up by saying something like, I gave him a dose of his own medicine. He says nasty, disparaging things about women all the time. See how he likes it. And then naturally, Trump said that she was crazy. She had mental issues.
Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems.
It's like school kids. They're like on the playground.
It is. I've always said life is a circle, right? Your circle, your world gets bigger as you grow out of childhood. And then as you get older, your world gets smaller and you start acting like a fucking infant again. And you have to have your ass wiped for you. And that's where fucking Pelosi and Trump and Joe Biden, all of those people need to go put on their Depends and sit on a rocking chair and enjoy the sunset. Get off my lawn! Thank you. Thank you very much.
Isn't that sad? It's sad. It's so sad. That's all we got.
Well,
in this
I feel like
that's all.
Well, we're headed towards a global society in so many ways. And this is another indicator of it. And I forgot which documentary it was I was watching. God dang it.
I don't know if it's going to be global society when and if Trump gets reelected. He's an isolationist. I mean,
Well, you're either going to go with the capitalism of the United States spreading and, Europe for the most part spreading, or it's going to be China and their infrastructure and their version of a global society. Which is going to win out? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Which 5G network is going to dominate our lives?
It's so depressing.
You know, here, how about and I'm sure you listened to it. The last two episodes featured Will Forte from Saturday Night Live and Last Man on Earth. And you've actually met him before. Didn't you meet him some way? You knew somebody that knew him?
Well, when I represented you as your agent.
Wrong.
I'm telling you, as God is my witness, if I had been your agent, things would have been different.
I have no doubt about that.
Good one.
No.
In a good way. Oh, okay. Listen, Hotshot, of all the stuff that you've said about you, I would do this. If I was your agent, I'd do this. I've done more to make you known and famous than you've done for my career. Do you realize that?
You realize you would have had your own trailer. You wouldn't have had to share it last time you did that spot. You had to share that.
Really, that's going to be the first thing on your list of demands?
You need your own trailer. You need your own space. Okay? My client doesn't share the trailer with anybody. Period.
And you know what they would say?
Senator, no more BS.
That sounds great, Senator. Let us confirm that. We'll call you right back.
Terms have already been discussed and agreed.
The number you have dialed is no longer
I would
in
have
service.
represented you, I'm telling you.
The number you have dialed is no longer in service, and no one wants to talk to you.
Dude, you have done nothing for me. I have done stuff for you.
Oh.
What have you done for me?
You didn't give me a chance. When you
create the opportunity.
Right there. I could have come in.
What did you do while we were there on set? Nothing. You walked around taking pictures of yourself, getting selfies and posting to Facebook. That's what you did.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
Jesus
we
Christ,
had
you're so full of
There was one scene. Don't you remember the one scene they had to stop because I was walking on the gravel?
No.
And it's really sensitive, the sound, and I was like
Okay.
Stopped.
I don't remember that, and how did that help my career?
I got you noticed. That's what I'm going to say. It got you noticed.
No, it didn't get me noticed. It got you noticed.
No, I'm your agent.
Agent of disaster, agent of destruction. Isn't there a heavy metal band that has agent of destruction? That's what you are. You're an agent of destruction.
I was willing to take less than 10%. Less than 10%.
Yeah, you're going to take about 10% less than 10%. He just can't get enough of himself, can he? Well, we really bagged on a lot of people in our or my self-righteous indignation, and I'm sure they will all lose a lot of sleep over it, but I do want to point something out about some of the personalities we've been bagging on over the last couple of episodes. Alex Jones, community college dropout. This is redundant, yes. College dropout after about a semester. Bagged on Rush Limbaugh, college dropout. Sean Hannity, who we did not really talk about, but is a prominent figure on Fox. No college degree. And of course, there's myself with the most advanced education among us idiots with a bachelor's degree in business administration on the 5-year program at State College. Thank you very much. And then there's Rachel Maddow. She's not a college dropout. She attended a community college called Stanford University and got a doctorate degree in political science from Oxford University. So, whatever, Rachel, whatever. Got her. The ultimate comeback, whatever. Who else? Nancy Pelosi, the queen of passive-aggressive nastiness with a scalpel, because she's really good at it. But it's still passive-aggressive, and it's definitely not holy, as she purports to strive for. And at the same time, can you imagine having to deal with Trump unless you're an absolute yes man or yes person? If you don't kiss his ass and agree with every word that dribbles from his mouth, you end up in a juvenile name-calling session like you're on a playground and you're labeled mentally ill or you have mental problems. Jeff Sessions, who I couldn't stand in the first place and seemed to be showering with Trump, is now mentally unqualified. Doesn't that make Trump mentally unqualified since he's the one who appointed Sessions?
I'm an extremely stable genius.
I could go on and on. Actually, you know what? I already have. Thank you for listening to The Modern Moron, and we'll see you next time.